vete a acostar, que en la mala noche te van a matar, que en la mala noche te van a matar, ay te van a matar en la mala noche. Let's go. Sammy, so machuca boy. David, so machuca. El día que a mi padre lo iban a enterrar, lo iban a enterrar, y el día que a mi padre.
Welcome to Orange Cups Podcast, where each episode is full of inspiration. Today we have a typical group on set with us. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Go ahead.
We are un Cuarteto Bacano. I am Marcos.
I am Fino.
Okay, so I want to thank you guys for coming on to the podcast session today. I appreciate you guys coming out for us. I'm going to start off with a little shot.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right.
Thank you guys again.
Cheers.
Cheers to a good session. Let's go.
That's good.
All right. So I want to start off with speaking on your background. Just tell me a little about where you were raised and how your childhood was coming up. Let's start.
Okay. I was born in the Bronx.
Okay.
Between 196 and 197th.
Briggs Avenue.
Briggs Avenue. My mother just recently moved to Massachusetts from there. But I grew up in the Bronx. Later on, moved up to Peekskill, and I'm currently in Cortland.
How was your childhood growing up in the BX?
I really can't complain. I think I had a pretty good childhood.
Okay.
I played a lot outside, a lot of basketball. I can show many of the scrapes on my knees from all the times I fell off on my bike or rollerblading, but I had a pretty great childhood.
Your childhood was outside, not like the new generation where they're stuck on tablets and stuff.
Yeah, I played a lot outside.
I love that outside energy because I think it makes you unique when you become a grown up. You know, when you become an adult. What about you, Fino?
Oh man, born and raised Washington Heights, Manhattan.
Okay.
Uptown. Let's go.
Oh.
Pretty similar childhood. A lot of outdoor playing. I love sports. I'm horrible at them, but I got a pretty good childhood. I lived in Washington Heights for about 22 years. Mm-hmm. Then now I reside in the Bronx.
Okay. And how was your childhood growing up?
Same thing. Basketball. For me, playing basketball Saturday mornings was like the highlight of the week. After school, always going to the basketball courts or going to play baseball. It was always doing something outside. Like you said, we're not doing kids nowadays. They're all on tablets and stuff. It was a lot of outdoor hanging out.
Good. So at what age did you guys notice that you wanted to either start making music, playing music?
For me, I was like a teenager. I remember one of my aunts brought us like those souvenirs that you buy in the airport. Mm-hmm. And it was a tambora and a guira. And my little brother, he was always like very talented. So he picked it up super quick. And I'm like, I want to learn too. And I started playing stuff at home with the souvenirs. And then from there, I realized like my mom's family, there's musicians in my mom's family. We have a singer and a percussionist as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh snap, I already have it in my DNA. And just hanging out with the family and those family parties back in the days, how they were. There was a lot of Spanish music playing, and that's how the bug, it bit me.
And what about you?
the music bug or the típico bug?
Whatever came first, and then how it led to
Okay.
the second one.
So growing up, very Dominican Spanish household, se limpia los sábados, so there's music playing.
Right.
At 8 in the morning, you woke up, there's music playing because mommy's cleaning the apartment. So it's salsa, merengue, bachata, all the classics.
Right.
Mili Quesada, Ruby Perez, things like that. So I grew up with Juan Luis Guerra, Héctor Acosta, Torito, listening to that, but I was born in the Bronx. When I was in middle school, high school, now I'm into hip hop, R&B, rock. I used to hang out with like what you call the goth kids. I didn't dress the part because I didn't identify with that, but we came together with music all the time. Now fast forward with Típico, it was when my older sister got married in the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
I went for the wedding and I heard this song that it was just playing everywhere and it's super catchy. Dun 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 aquele pique.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is that? And I just asked, oh, it's el prodigio. And from then on, it's been over. I love it.
Do you think that was the mark in your life that made you fall in love with típico music? Just listening to the instruments and just understanding, like, okay, these are different instruments coming together to make this amazing sound.
It sparked an interest to me at that point, even though I had heard it growing up. What's interesting is that I did not like what I now know was merengue típico because the sound of the accordion was annoying to me when I was young. When I was a kid, I was just like, it was just like, what is that? But fast forward, now I love it.
Now you love the accordion.
Now I love it. I love the accordion, but what caught my attention was the guira, the percussion.
Okay.
And that's where I focused, and I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. Because I grew up seeing Cristian La Guira, Caimán, all these big shots that it's still, to me now, they're like, you know, the best. And it's just like, it gave me something to look forward to. And I just went at it.
When did you guys pick up your first instrument?
For me, it had to be, I'll probably say like freshman year in high school. We took a trip to DR, and I remember I told my dad, like, I want a tambora. And he got me a professional tambora, orquesta tambora, which is not the same as típico, right? So he gets me this tambora, and I'm just at home, like YouTube had just started, so I'm like trying to see whatever pops up on YouTube, or like I used to buy DVDs and like play them, see the band play live, and I'll try to imitate what those guys were doing. Okay. And that was my first instrument. Yeah.
I picked up the guira way late. Well, what you would consider late when you ask the musicians now, most of them start early, but I picked up the guira after college.
Okay.
So I was already an adult, but I really liked it. So I just locked myself in my room and I played. At that time, my stomping grounds or teaching grounds was El Prodigio y la Superbanda, Bernie Jong. Not so much La Selección, but I learned to love La Selección because of Fino. Yeah. He put me onto that real bad. El Ciego de Nagua, classics like that. And I would just practice in my room over and over again. My mom hated it. She thought, she's muchacho, ese cándalo, apaga eso. And it's like, this is what I like though. It was bad at the beginning because it was like hours and hours.
I mean, that's how you build, what is it? You build
muscle memory.
Yeah, muscle memory, and like you just build a routine.
Yeah.
You know, you keep going at it, and you're like, okay, 12 hours today, 8 hours tomorrow, and then in 4 hours, you've learned everything you've worked so hard for in a 12-hour shift. You can now do it in 4 hours. So,
right.
When did you guys meet? How was that?
Oh my God, it's a funny story. Yeah. This is Orange Cup podcast, right? So we, you know, we drink a little alcohol. I could definitely mention this. I was uptown in Dykeman, hanging out, watching a típico band, and I was a little lit. I was a little drunk, and a musician out there, he was like, "Hey, like, can I have your number? Like, there's this group," and I was like, "All right." I gave him my number, and they called me, and I'm like, he called me. I didn't know it was him. oh, we're in the studio in the Bronx rehearsing. I'm like, all right, I'm on my way. I'm
Yeah.
thinking it's the same guys I met in Dykeman. When I get to the studio, I'm like, who the hell is this? These guys were not in Dykeman last week. And I'm like, wait, I was a little lit. And it was a rehearsal to a band that he had with another friend of ours, Luisito, y La Conexión Típica. They needed someone to cover a few gigs, and I went to that rehearsal, and the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Do you guys say your bond grew over the music and just like playing together?
Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely.
100%.
Do you guys say you guys like learned more about each other and like how you guys have unique styles of playing and how you can play together, like that rhythm?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And in learning, it's not just hanging out together outside of music, but in the music, because we spent so much time together, he can look and just do something, and I know what's coming.
Okay.
That's how like together we are.
Yeah.
I think that's the same level of frequency you guys are on that you should be, because if you guys are not leveled on your frequency, then I think, you know, things can go left. So learning that bond is really important, especially for your mental health, because you're like, all right, I got a bond with this guy. He knows what I'm about to do. And it's like, you know, NBA, who is it? NBA legends, Shaq and Kobe, you know, you need that in your life. Let me
that's
see.
dope, bro. Shaq and Kobe.
Right?
Yeah,
Shaq and
yeah.
Kobe?
Dope,
What's
I
up?
like
I
that.
dig. I absolutely have learned a lot from Fino, especially he has taught me that it's okay to have opposing views on things.
Yeah.
As long as I can say my piece, he can say his piece, and we can come together and just talk about it, that's cool. We don't have to disagree. We don't have to agree on everything. As long as we know what we're doing and we both want the same things, talking about un Cuarteto Bacano,
Yeah.
we're good because we have each other's back.
I think it's learning to have educational conversations. Like when you guys converse, you can have differences because it you know, everybody has their own opinions, which is okay. That's fine. That's what you're supposed to have, your opinions. And just having an educational conversation between you two should help you guys grow, not attack you guys or work against you as a band. I know that being a band is just not you two. You guys have other guys come in and play different instruments, right? So it's like, okay, who do we work with? Who do we want? What do we want out of this artist? You know, out of this musician? How do you guys come to agreements when it comes to like this details?
I think one of the things that we always agree upon. We just want someone that, like when we work with other musicians, we just want someone that can be like us. Like, well, not exactly like us, but someone that's calm, cool, and open-minded, that's willing to try out different things, that's willing to play in different environments. We've been playing in breweries and non-Spanish restaurants, like the Latin Típico crowd. We've been doing a lot of those. They're just musicians that are open-minded to that. And we've been lucky to find a cool group of guys that are willing to try different things like that.
How do you feel when it comes to playing for crowds that are not your average typical crowd? You know, I'm sure you have different cultures coming up and be like, well, let's listen to these guys. Do you guys get nervous? Or?
I get nervous. Oh man, last night I was nervous.
I get nervous every time.
Okay.
Just because I've always had just a little bit. Doesn't matter. However, specifically yesterday, we played in the Coffee Bean Runner in Peekskill, and that is not a típico. It's a coffee shop, basically, and they make sandwiches, but it's a really nice spot in Peekskill, and I have been trying to get there, to get a spot to perform there, not just with Un Cuarteto Bacano, but with previous projects. And now that the opportunity presented itself and we did it, it was like, we really can do anything that we say we want to do.
Yeah.
I was really insistent on it and spoke to the owner many times, but things happen for a reason. We didn't get the opportunity with the previous projects because it wasn't the time. Last night, it was super dope. We had all our family and friends support us.
Wow.
It was great. It was really great.
Do you guys believe in right place, right time?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I haven't said so many highs and thank you for coming and like just conversations outside of the, like once we finished our second set, the gig was done.
Yeah.
A lot of people coming up to us, non-speaking people. Oh, I really like what you guys did. When's your next gig? Hey, can I follow you on Instagram? Of course. And those type of conversations were amazing last night. It was my first time like really experiencing something like that.
Do you feel like you would take more gigs like that?
Oh, definitely. I would love to. Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of our thing, really, with
Right.
Cuarteto Bacano. It's not playing where everyone else is playing. It's branching out and looking to different opportunities. Yes, we know that this is a jazz, maybe R&B, maybe poetry slam type of environment, but we can spark a conversation with the owner or with whoever's
Right.
involved with inviting groups, and we can talk to them about our project, and
Yeah.
you know, we can just put ourselves out there. We're the ones that are looking for the opportunity, so we want to play in these spots. And like we've said, we've been super grateful and super lucky to get the opportunities time and time again.
What do you think is unique about your group compared to other Típico groups? And no shade to any other Típico groups. I think every group has something, some type of sauce that makes them unique.
You want to take it?
You know what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Just our like our background, like coming up, like growing up in Washington Heights, everything was hip hop. Similar to him, like I
Right.
used to dislike Spanish music, so that influence in hip hop and like our love for R&B, like Jagged Edge, the 112, like
Yeah.
we have all those guys, like all that music in that time in the 90s and 2000s. We have all that in like in our DNA, and it's one thing that we always wanted to do. All right, how can we incorporate something like this and that? And sometimes even rehearsing, we'll come up with something, and it's like, remember that Jagged Edge song? Remember 112? And it's like that's what that that we got inspired from that, and of course, definitely our upbringing.
I think that mashup would be fire, like bringing the old school R&B / Típico, something you've never heard. I know once you were speaking to me about like bringing a Don Lemar into a Típico song, right?
Yeah.
Like the way you sat there and just like sounded the beat, it was like I can actually hear it mashing
Yeah.
up in a Típico form, and it sounds fire.
Thank you,
you know,
thank you.
I can't wait till you guys get in the studio and start recording, because these are going to be
Yes,
unique to your
yes.
group. You know, you could do the classics. We could do classics all day, but what makes you a part of the other Típico groups that just do either classics or covers, so that's super important. How do you feel about being independent artists as a Típico group and funding everything that has to come your way? Because obviously there's no label, there's no funding. This is all you work hard during the day and then you put it into your Típico band.
Yes.
No, that.
Uh-huh.
It's worth it.
It's all worth it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, no matter what, in my experience, it's always worth it. Especially on this chapter with Un Cuarteto Bacano.
Yeah.
Because we're doing things our way.
Yeah.
We don't have to play where everyone else plays. But we are choosing where we want to play, and we are playing there. And it's just like, if, like you said earlier, if we're on the same frequency on what we want,
Yeah.
we go for it, we attack, and we make it happen. I believe in that 100%.
Yeah.
You put your mind on something, it's going to happen no matter what. So we've been focused on branching out and looking for new opportunities and going into spots where Merengue Típico doesn't play, because we want it to grow. This is the stuff that we love.
Yeah.
So if we can put it into a spot where, Poetry Slam does it, why not? If they want to invite us, we're ready.
Right. How do you guys balance your mental health with like working Típico group, rehearsing, dealing with the business side? How's your balance?
It's so crazy for me. Like, it's like a stress reliever.
Yeah.
I could be mentally drained from work, physically tired, and it's like, hey, like we'll have like our 8 p.m. meetings. We always have like our 8 p.m. calls, and once we start talking about music and the ideas that we come like that come to our heads, like it's just like a stress reliever, and I feel like so mentally and physically relaxed. And the same thing like hitting the stage. Like yesterday, I came out of work. I'm going straight up to Peekskill. I was physically tired, mentally
Yeah.
drained from a tough week of work. And as soon as I got there and we hit the stage, it was like, and I felt so disconnected from all the nonsense, social media and all those things that are like mentally draining us right now. I felt so disconnected. And then seeing the people dancing, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. There was women dancing with women. We were like, where are the men? Like, come on, pull these girls to dance.
Yep.
And that just made me feel so mentally relaxed. And it's so crazy. I got home and I was telling him, like, I got home, I sat on the couch and I knocked out.
Right.
But I was like so relaxed. My brain was like perfect. And I was like, this is what I need. This is what makes me happy. This is going to keep me moving forward and staying positive in life. And it was a really cool experience.
Yeah. That's why it's always worth it.
That's why.
For me, it also is a stress reliever.
Yeah.
But also what helps, rollerblading. I picked that up recently.
Okay.
And that helps me out a lot. I just hit the street and put on some headphones. Sometimes I'll listen to a podcast. Most times I'll just put some like
Orange Cup podcast.
Hey.
yes.
Let's go.
I'll put some lo-fi chill beats, but that really just gets me in a zone where I'm skating and it doesn't matter how long, I'm just out there. And I find some kind of peace and tranquility in just going.
Just going. So you say rollerblading or roller skating is your routine, your go-to for healing.
For sure. It does help a lot, for sure. I can unload a lot in the streets.
Yeah. Just
Mentally, yeah. It helps me.
And what about you? What's the thing that you do?
For me, it would be cycling.
Cycling.
So similar to him, like I jump on the bike and I'm gone. Like I just disconnect from everything, and it's crazy because I'll start pedaling and I'm thinking about certain things that probably like were stressing me out throughout the week.
Yeah.
And then you start thinking, you know, the positive in those experiences, and next thing you know, it's like 20 miles, and then I'm like 40 miles in, and I'm like, oh, time to go back home, and I rode 50 miles. But I'm like mentally so relaxed, and all those things that were bothering me throughout the week prior to getting on the bike, it's like they're all gone and vanished. It's like, on to the next thing. Let's go to the next day and kick some ass.
How do you guys deal with being mentally blocked when you want to create and there's a block in your path and you know you can't create something right now? It's like just blocking you fully.
We've been there a few times, huh? We've been there.
Por ejemplo.
I mean, that's a really good question, because it's one of the things that I guess in our culture we don't discuss much, the you know, the mental blockage, and you know, sometimes we don't even realize that it's happening, and it's something that we definitely experienced. Yeah.
In the studio or when we're rehearsing, if there's anything blocking us mentally, we can tell, because so rehearsal, we're supposed to come together and do what you were supposed to practice at home.
Okay.
Like, you know, so if someone's off, you know that he's supposed to do something and he keeps messing up time and time again. At that point, you know, it's not considerate and wasting everyone else's time. So maybe if that person having an issue or a block, you know, put them to the side. It's like, hey, is everything okay? You know, you want to take a couple of minutes, breather, take some water, something, come back. And usually that helps. But sometimes, you know, we just bring, let's say, our personal issues or whatever we have into the studio, and it can mess us up sometimes. Other times we can just not be in the creative state, even though we have to be there because Thursdays is when we practice, you know?
Yeah.
There's good days and bad days. But I think just noticing when it happens, just addressing it and be like, hey, if you want a couple of minutes, it's cool.
That's cool. I think being aware of, like, not being responsible for yourself, but being aware of other people's state, mental health is like, okay, something's off with this guy today. We gotta
reaching out. Like,
reaching
hey,
out.
everything's like, you good? Let's take 5 minutes. You need somebody to talk to. Like, let's step out for a bit. Yeah, that thing always helps a lot.
I'm glad to hear that, because I know it's hard for men to say that and like speak on their mental health. Like, I know it's not an easy subject, especially probably in culture wise.
Yeah.
When your culture is coming up as Dominican, you know, you're very closed off and like, I just gotta do this and this is how my parents taught me. So being able to break that generational way of thinking is big, because it's only going to elevate you and your band and your creativity, right? So when you guys are playing the instruments and trying to come up with new sounds and new ideas, it all falls into one place. It's like, if your mental health is not aligned, then we're not going to create.
Yep.
I agree.
Let me see. I have some question here for you guys.
Let's go.
Yeah.
DJ Nemo, let's go.
How would you guys describe your musical style?
Oof, that's a good one.
Bacano.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's bacano. Why bacano? Bacano is like cool. We do, because we have so many years playing together, we do have our own thing. You can put us with whoever else, but we have a certain chemistry, a certain swing, that it doesn't matter the accordion, sax. When the percussion is us, it's un cuarteto bacano.
Hey, that's where the band name came from,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's true. It's
That's
true.
true. You agree?
Of course, and is what you were saying earlier. Like we got that sync. We look at each other and it's like, let's go.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Let's do it.
a head nod, and we know what's coming. Let's do it. Let's do it.
yeah.
Who's your biggest musical influences?
Oh man, for me, percussion wise, it's gonna be a little off because there's a few non-typical musicians that I look up to. Well, I'm gonna start with the típico. One of the biggest, like most important tamboreros in DR, El Viejo Puro and Boca Chula. Those
Right.
two guys for me are like, that's like the Mount Rushmore of merengue típico tamboreros. And then there's this other percussionist, non-Dominican, doesn't play típico, is Luisito Quintero. This guy plays every musical instrument, and this summer I had the opportunity to meet him in
Wow.
the airport in Bogota, Colombia.
Dope.
I was coming back to New York and I met him in the airport, and we had like a little 5-minute conversation. And that guy was like super down to earth and super cool. And it's so funny because I had some calluses in my hand from playing tambora, and he was like, "Oh, fenomenal." He told me that. I'm sitting in the plane and I was like, he just said my hand is like amazing. I was like, wow.
You're like, yeah, man,
Like,
look
I
at
made it.
I made it. Look at this hand.
Yes.
Look at it.
Yeah, those three guys are definitely my inspiration. Yeah.
Do you say that's a point in your life that you'll never forget?
Oh, I'll never forget that.
And paying like homage to all these people.
This
that,
guy said like, "Oh, fenomenal" in my hand. I couldn't even sleep that whole plane ride back to New York. And as soon as I landed, I told Marcos and another musician friend of ours, Luisito Percusión, our boy. Shout out to him.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide.
Luisito Percussion.
He's on tour right now with Optimo. He's on tour. He's doing big things.
doing
the
big
man.
things, huh?
So I hit him up. I
Oh,
was
my
like, Luisito, man, Luisito. It's funny, Luisito, man, Luisito Quintero in the airport. He's just like, wow, like that's amazing, man. Somebody that we all look up to.
Yeah.
You know what? Mark Anthony, when he says Ataca Quintero,
Yeah.
that's the guy. I
That's
met
the
him.
guy?
That's the guy. I
Okay.
met
And
him.
he uses that a lot. In
Yeah,
his
yeah,
songs.
yeah. He's a beast. He's a
That's
beast.
him. Yeah.
That's who's your biggest influence?
Growing up, 100% Cristian La Guira,
Okay.
then Caimán, because I saw the difference. It's like night and day.
Yeah.
Cristian is kind of like smooth, silky. Caimán is kind of like attack, choppy. So noticing those differences is like, oh man, they're like super dope, but very different. Then I started focusing more on our local guys here. Rainier Guira, Victor Guira. Those were my guys because now I'm starting to go to these gigs and I'm looking at them. So it's just like, this is my personal Cristian La Guira, you know, because Cristian is in DR. But these are the guys that I'm looking up to. So now I'm following Henny Swing, or it was a Henny Swing, Típico Urbano. They've gone through different names, but I've been Henny Swing fan 100%. At that time, it was Victor Guira who was playing. And to me, it was like, oh my goodness. Like, he hit that bass drum. Like, he broke a whole bunch of drum heads that I've heard. Because he just attacks it. And so that, and then when he got to do his solos on the guira, it's just like, man, that's what I want to do.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
At that
so
point, you was like, that's it.
That's it. So, big guys in DR, Caimán and Cristian. Over here, Ranier and Victor.
What type of messages do you guys aim to convey through your songs? Even if it's a cover or original?
You know what? For us specific, I think just with the experience I had yesterday of playing to a non-typical crowd, after each song, I try my best to translate the message within the song.
Okay.
And just seeing non-Spanish speaking people connecting and understanding and going like, oh, wow. And even after the gig, people coming up to us and speaking, and and they don't know nothing in Spanish. And they're like, oh, I really appreciate you. That song, Pena Profunda, La Cartera, is like the song of, traditional songs, and knowing that they connected to it once I translated what the message was in the song. And I was like, this is definitely our lane to connect. And it doesn't have to be with the traditional songs. Like you were saying earlier, like the covers or non-covers of different type of music, that we can bring those messages to different cultures with our típico band.
It's a big blend, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys write your lyrics in Spanish?
we have Spanish and
Mostly Spanish because Merengue Típico is in Spanish.
Right.
However, again, Henny Swing was, to me, one of the first ones to put out all English song in the Merengue Típico. So that was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, it is, and no one expects it because that's from DR. But being born here, having Dominican parents, they were like, nah, we're gonna do it our way. Also influenced with hip hop and R&B, born here. They did amazing things and still doing amazing. Genito, de lo mío.
Do you guys ever look into I'm sure you have, but like the root of where Típico came from, like where the instruments started coming into, like back when DR was still full of Indians and culture, and like when it started making instruments from scratch, and
I know that the guira came from the guiro made out of wood,
right?
And it's still used in salsa too.
Yeah.
But for merengue típico now it's made out of a specific type of metal called nickel, and the process has gone through many evolutions as well, because now you can personalize it with anything you want.
Wow. How do you feel about your heritage, like just bringing your upbringing, being Latino, and just being able to continue that journey of being a musician, of paying homage to all the past musicians?
Okay.
Well,
I mean, I feel honored and grateful
yeah,
every time that we get to perform, because I understand that so many greats have come before me for me to be able to step in front of a mic and sing and play the guira. So it is humbling, and again, that's why I get so nervous, or a little nervous every time, because I understand and I'm aware of what I'm doing, and I'm just like, man, this is dope. So I'm forever grateful.
What would you say was your favorite performance out of the last few gigs you've done?
oof.
I need time to think about that.
I'm gonna give a little background.
All right.
So we were part of a previous project, and unfortunately that project had to come to an end. And one day we were getting gigs for that project.
Mm-hmm.
So basically we were stuck with these gigs. We need to figure it out, right? We had like 2 or 3 weeks to come up with something.
I think 2 weeks.
Like 2 weeks, and we went out for dinner. We were talking, having a few drinks, and that's where the project came about, Un Cuarteto Bacano. And right there on the spot, boom, we got a gig.
Yeah.
And then that was what, on a Sunday. And then that Monday we were playing for this it was like a non-typical restaurant called Perla Negra in Harlem.
Okay.
Yes.
Shout out to my boys. And it's not your typical environment place.
No.
It's not really space for it either.
Yeah, it was like very tiny. Like we were like in this corner, 4 musicians, so 6 of us.
No, we made the
4. It was 4.
5.
Oh, 5.
Yeah.
And we played there. There was I didn't have a mic. It was super full house. Like I'm playing the drum and I was like hitting people by mistake because it was so tight and people were dancing. For me, that was my favorite gig of this experience, and that was like our second gig. Mm-hmm. And from there, it's been amazing, an amazing experience ever since.
Yeah.
Do you think that was like you guys giving birth to what is now today?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that's
definitely.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. As he mentioned, we were part of a previous group, and we were putting our all into it as always. And unfortunately, we weren't part of the ownership. So I asked him. I was like, "Look, we've been together with this project now almost a year and a half.
Wow.
What do you want to do?" He's like, "I'm ready to give up." And I'm like, "Not me. Like, we spent way too much time. We can do this ourselves, and I'm ready. If you ready, let's do it." And he's like, "Con usted, maestro, vamos a todo." And that's what happened.
I'm glad you were able to pick him back up, because it seems like you were ready to quit.
I was definitely. I was like, I'm done with this, man.
You think it was your emotions taking over, like after just putting in the work for so long? It's just like you know, you have no control of what's happening at the moment, the decisions that are being made, but it's just like you let your emotions take over, and just like after all this time, man.
Yeah, definitely, and I remember because he was the one like, "Oh, let's meet up and just talk about like these future events that are coming up." But I was clocked out. And then we had a few beers. We were talking about it, and we came up with a name. We got a gig in that same spot, and it was like, all right, we got another gig the day after. And I was like, oh man, you know what? Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Do you think your excitement came back up?
Oh, definitely.
You think the liquor helped?
Cheers.
Bueno.
Oh, this is good. Definitely. It's so funny because I was really mentally clocked out.
Yeah.
And I had a few beers. We had a few drinks, you know. And my boy, he's like, yo, let's go, let's do it.
But you know, to add to that, I understand because it's not the first time.
Right.
Not just with this previous project, but he has had his own musical career before we met, and so did I. And I've had my my fallouts with groups and situations, and it's like, you know what? I still know that this is it, because when I get behind the mic, when he says, doesn't matter what happens in the day, we start playing, it's just kind of like, I'm out there. Yeah. So I chase that every time. And knowing that we have the experience, knowing that we have the connections of all the musicians here in New York and in DR, it's like, this is super easy. We can do this. Just tell me that you want to do this, and we got this. And he's like, all right, let's go. And we're here.
Yeah. How do you guys find yourself engaging with your audience while you're playing?
It's fun. It's fun. You know, we feed off their energy too.
Yeah.
And playing in different environments, certain songs connect with certain people, and you know, others don't. But when you see them dancing, or you see that they understand what the song is about, they'll laugh or whatever, they'll send, you know, a wave or anything, like that connection is very, very good for me. But it's also good for the business, because they understand that they're here for us and we're here for them. So everybody wins.
Do you guys learn how to read the crowd, like when you guys need to pick it up or slow it down?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, definitely. Sometimes you find yourself maybe playing a more traditional song, and it's like, you know what, the next one, let's pump it up. Let's hit him with a good one, and you see the energy change instantly.
What's the longest set you guys done?
The longest set? I don't think we've had any unusually long sets with Un Cuarteto Bacano. Not that I can think of.
You think like an hour on, hour off, or just depending on the gig and how long it is, or what the details are? I
mean, if anything, last night's gig was probably a long first set, because we played more songs in that set than we normally do. Okay. Only because we were trying to, you know, see how much time we had left to do the second set or not. So I think maybe last night.
Yeah.
Last night. What can your fans expect from your upcoming projects and releases?
Oh man, we got some dope R&B covers, right? We got some R&B covers coming.
I can't wait to hear it.
We have to, just mixing our upbringing and you know what we experienced growing up. Like I said, the Jagged Edge, the 112. We have a few things cooking. We also have some original music coming out as well. It's gonna be a good winter for us. Oh, fall. Sorry, a good fall for us. Yeah, good fall.
Do you guys see yourself getting in the studio and actually recording these?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, we have to. We have to, because we want to put it out there. We have this creativity in us, and we just want to share it. Like it's dope to us, so it's kind of like, you guys got to listen to this.
Yeah, you guys got to hear this. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
Yo, we could premiere it here. Ours Cup Podcast.
What do you mean? You have like a...
No, if we could, once we have our...
We'll come back for the premiere. You guys got to come back for the premiere. You got to wait. You got to wait. I'm getting the exclusive. You heard it. Because so if any other podcast gets it before me, I got this on video. How do you guys think your music reflects your contributes to the Spanish culture?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Repeat, please.
How do you think your music reflects or contributes to contemporary Spanish culture, if that makes sense?
I mean, I think it goes hand in hand.
Okay.
We represent our culture by our music, but we also want to bring others that are not part of our culture, so that the music and the genre can expand. I think it just goes hand in hand. Yeah,
you're pushing hard to expand Típico to non-Spanish speakers or non-Latinos, And that's great because a lot of people would stay within their culture because you're comfortable, right?
Right.
And people don't like being uncomfortable. So you guys are breaking barriers, working out, being in your comfort zone. So like, hey, let's play for this group that they're not gonna understand what a word we say, but they're gonna dance. That's a connection. You know, and that's worth the while. At the end of the day, if they're dancing, hey, that's it. And be like, what are the long-term goals for you guys?
I think definitely putting out our own music, giving it our own taste, and just mixing different genres with the típico world, you can say. And with this project, like the ideas that we've spoken about is endless. Like we know people that are on Broadway, people that do film. We know people that are in different industries, that in different entertainment industries, and we're like, hey, maybe we could work with this guy to do something in audio for a play, or hey, we could work with this guy that does commercials for these type of businesses, and why not do something for them as well, a jingle or something like that. Things that we've discussed. Oh man, it's endless.
What about like a commercial, a jingle for a commercial or something?
That would be dope. That would be dope.
You guys are open to like all?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Hay un gran sabio que dice, toque sí. Toque sí. Fino tambor.
That's me. I'm like, yes to everything.
Yes to everything.
Yeah, I know. That's your favorite word. Yes to everything.
Yes
Let's
to
do
everything,
it.
yeah.
As long as the money's there, right? I mean, of course, you guys got to get paid, That's the truth. But, and the contract's right, yes to everything. That's good because that's how you grow, right? You don't want to stop your growth. Are there any... Oh, I asked you this already. Hold on. What does being part of this band mean to you each personally?
Oh man, for me specifically, is finally being able to be myself, to be creative in my own way, to share my ideas and be creative, and like, hey, like I'll record stuff on my phone and or even tapping on the wall and I'm like, hey bro, what do you think about this cut? What do you think about this rhythm? What do you think about this idea? And finally being able to share that and have someone like Marcos, one of my closest friends, to be able to be like, I dig. When he says I dig, I'm like, let's go. I got one.
Let's go. We're gonna keep that. Do you guys find yourself recording yourself a lot, like, or writing down ideas?
Oh,
with your
definitely.
Creative process?
Oh man, voice messages like there's no tomorrow.
And, we have to because we live further apart from each other. So the communication with that, yes. Voice notes, like he said, any cuts or rhythms, we just communicated with each other. Even if we're busy at work, we'll catch it and we'll send it with each other so that we can play it later on.
That's amazing. I love the energy that you guys two bring together, because you can see that there's been growth there and there's been time spent with each other.
For sure.
So you could definitely see it. How do you balance creative differences within the band? We get a little hard. The hard questions are coming.
Yes. So, as I mentioned earlier, we have our own perspectives and we have our own likes and dislikes within the genre and just in general. But what I learned from him is that that's okay, and it's actually beneficial, because it's not that how I think about it is just the absolute only way. He has told me many, many times, no, maestro, mira, it's like this. And it's just like, oh, right. Like for a second, I forget that it's just my perspective. And he's his own person. And he has lived his life with his personality and his perspective. So to see how he sees things is beneficial for me, because I learn, like, oh yeah, like it's not just him, but be mindful that everyone else has their own thing and has their own como granito de sal to contribute to the project.
That's the special sauce, though, right?
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
Yes.
No, the same thing for me, vice versa. Like sometimes I might have an idea or see things a certain way, and once he gives me his opinion or his view on it or his experience from that situation, I'm like, oh, wait, I'm there's more to it than just what I was thinking, and it's amazing to have that type of friendship.
where it's respectable, but you guys are able to listen to each other, right?
Yeah.
Always respect, always love, because outside of the music, like, we're best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I know his family, he knows mine. So I don't see that I could ever disrespect him in any way just because no sale de mí. That's not who I am. And just knowing who he is and what he means to me, I would never do that.
That's amazing. If you could give one piece of advice to aspiring musicians, what would it be?
I'm ready.
You can go for. You go for it. You go for it.
Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. Do whatever you feel. If it's creative, if it's drawing, singing, any of the arts, anything you want to create, any ideas that come to your mind, do it. No matter what anybody says. Because there's a lot of people that's going to say, oh, why don't you do it this way? Or you could have done it that, or what?
Right.
You could have done it that way. I want to do this my way. So anything that you want to do it.
I was gonna say that. Just go.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
go.
Mm-hmm.
If something positive, something that's good, you know, physically, mentally, just go for it. Don't take the easy route. Don't take the easy. Just go for it. And the more you fall, the more you will learn. The stronger you get to get back up and keep going. So just keep going. Don't stop.
What would you tell your younger self if you could inspire yourself? Now that you know everything that you do now.
Yep.
Invest in Apple. I mean,
También,
Invest in the
sí.
stocks.
oh man. You know what's crazy, that I think that me being younger, I used to be very close-minded with certain things. And I feel like I missed out on certain little key things that you experience as a child because I was closed-minded. Now that I'm older, I'm like, oh wow, I never did this when like what? I'm late to this. Like, this is super cool. I think one of the things I'll tell myself to be more open-minded and just try it before saying no to something. Just give it a try. Obviously, you know, positive and non-bad stuff, you guys know.
Right, no bad stuff here.
Yeah, to piggyback off what he said, take risks for sure. I would tell myself.
That's the word. Take risks.
I played it safe a lot when I was young, and I realize that now. Like he said, now looking back, I could have done a lot of things, but I purposely said no because I was scared.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, like, I don't know, I was young, but I know at that moment, being asked to do something, I was like, no, I don't want to do it. No. So, I would tell myself to take more risks.
To take more risks.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about your future? Besides the projects, like, do you guys see yourself touring more? If somebody give you the opportunity to go on a 6-month tour, would you take it tomorrow?
With this project?
Like, in general.
Can I say hell yeah?
Hell
With
yeah.
this project, hell
If you want, yeah.
With this project, oh, of course, definitely. And again, it's like just the view that we have with this project and the things that we want to also put our foot in and try, because take risks, right? It won't hurt to try. And so crazy, one of my closest friends, William, he would always say, what's the worst? Like, when I was younger, I used to like be a little shy to go up to girls or whatever. My friend would be like, what's the worst she can tell you? No.
Right.
Like, and then what? She said no, and it's like life goes on. It's okay. You learn from that. You keep it moving. I think for us, oh man, it's endless.
Endless opportunities.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Would you guys sign a record deal?
I like
record.
independent.
I mean, toque sí, but, you know, when the time comes.
Right.
There's so many things that we can get into, but 100% what I've learned with Un Cuarteto Bacano is that really you can do anything that you want. Perfect example. Even before Un Cuarteto Bacano, Fino had wanted to play in this spot specifically. He had been telling me, that's where we're going to play. I want to play there. This is our spot.
Manifesting.
100%.
For years, yeah.
But it took a while. But that spot, Suyo NYC in the Bronx, has been amazing. And it was because of him. If he didn't want to play there, we would not play there. Last night, the Bean Runner Cafe.
Yeah.
That was my thing. I've been wanting to play there forever. I want to bring Típico to Peekskill. who the hell is gonna drive up to Peekskill, New York? I said, I'm gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
And we made it happen last night. So I am a firm believer, 100%. You can do anything you want, anything you put your mind to. You focus on it, it's gonna happen, no matter what. No matter what.
That's amazing. So I want to thank you guys so much for this
Thank you,
interview,
thank you.
man.
Thank you.
It was amazing to get to speak to you guys and get to know you guys a little more, to be a little more intimate with you in the group. You know, people that like to see the outside of the group, but they don't see what goes on behind the scenes, you know. So for you guys to come on and express things, I wish you guys the best. I hope you guys blow up. I hope that there's a million more tours coming. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
I want
So many good
10%.
things
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's all right. Because if I get signed to with a studio, then
Hey,
hey, we come
DJ
back, right?
Nemo, let's go,
Let's
man.
go.
In the house, yes.
Yeah, man. I think that's about it. Do you guys want to say anything to the crowd? Tell them your social medias, where to find you, your next
Oh,
gig,
we got
man.
this. This is my
Yeah.
favorite part.
Yeah, let's
so when
go.
we in gigs, he usually says like, you know, thank you guys. Do it. Let's say like we're in a gig.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys for coming. Appreciate you all. You
Uh-huh.
could have been anywhere, but you're here. Thank you. If you guys want to follow us, Un Cuarteto Bacano on Instagram, Un Cuarteto Bacano on Facebook and YouTube.
And also, if for the 21 and older crowd, we have Only Toes coming. No, I'm just kidding.
Only toes.
Un Cuarteto Bacano, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Please check out our page, check out our YouTube channel. We have a lot of dope content and a lot more coming up.
And is your contact information if they want to send you an email? Everything's
Yes,
on there.
yes. Un Cuarteto
for booking?
Bacano at gmail.com. Yeah, that's Un Cuarteto Bacano on all
Everywhere.
platforms. Yeah.
They're everywhere.
You guys gonna release something on Spotify soon? Apple Music?
So many good things are coming.
We're gonna do it here
Oh,
first.
spoil
We're gonna do it here
spoil
You
first.
can't spoil it.
We're
but
gonna do
yeah,
it here first, and then we'll put it out there.
I dig it.
Like
I
I
that.
said, come find me on Orange Cuts Podcast on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, you know.
Thank you. Cheers,
Thank you.
DJ Nemo.
Cheers,
Cheers.